Now, what will happen here is any area that is there's a crash detection, there's a risk of the collisions on site. So that is one of the reasons why we need to do a crash detection in the very early stage so that we can prevent any issue on site or any safety issue on site. Now, for us to, instead of using the switchback in the Dynamo, we also have a script that you can develop where you can bring all those kind of clash error, the location, bring it back into Revit by pointer or by any kind of graphical identification that you want to use it. And at the same time, the modeler can start make changes, verify the issue and so on. Now you can see how the computational design can help you into certain process. All right. So of course, certain things that it doesn't, it will almost similar as what you guys are doing right now. But you can see how Dynamo can improve the efficiency and also the speeds to it. Now, moving towards the last two, which is on the more on the construction. Now, digital construction is one of the things that people are moving, the industry is moving forward. One of the reasons here is we can detect the safety issue, we can alert the certain people, the RTO, RA, or the site engineer, anyone, at the immediately. All right, because everything is running on cloud, people can be informed any issue or alert certain things. On top of that, if you attach with the IoT devices, so it can alert certain things before the things happen and so on. Now, digital construction, there's a couple of things that you can look into. Like for example, submittals tracking, to use it for the shop drawing submission, RFA, RAM, and other processes. So everything can be done digitally. So this is part of the digital construction where you can start to look into and you can start to see how we can move everything into a digital format and so on. All right. We have been working with a couple of contractors in Singapore to implement the whole system. It's still in the very early stage. There's some limitation, there's some hiccups here and there, partly because of the software and also because of the site people are quite reluctant to move on. People are not familiar with the digital. People are still people on the hard copy and so on. In fact, this morning I went to one contractor office. A couple of site people, their feedback, they're saying that I don't want to use mobile device because it will drain my battery, it will use up my storage and so on. So that's kind of feedback that we're receiving. And also there's a lot of feedback. People still cannot get away with the digital, with the hard copy, with the header, with the signature and so on. So you can see this is what the industry is going on. RFI tracking, all this while RFI tracking is just a form that you fill it up. You take a picture on site or you attach with the hard copy drawings as a part of the attachment. But can you imagine you have the BIM model that is already in your project? Why we don't use the 3D models to submit the RFI tracking, which is more visible, which is clearly see where is the issues, what is the RFI is about, and you can pull out the information at any time that you want. All right. I know a lot of people on site that are still not familiar with 3D. All right. Digital construction doesn't limit only for BIM model, but if you have PDF, if you have DWG, you can perform the same method of working by using a digital method to do the RFI tracking and so on. Issue management, like safety management, if you want to raise anything, site memo, site inspections, and also the safety issue, everything can be done it digitally as well. All right. You can see that nowadays we have another contractor. I think the project in Sembawang. All this while they've been using WhatsApp group to do the response. They mentioned to us, they're saying that if any issue on site, they just take a picture, attach it, send it through WhatsApp, and then somebody will pick it up and respond to the WhatsApp. No doubt it's very fast because everyone is using WhatsApp, but the problem is the tracking. Who's going to track that? When the thing has been done, who has done it, when the thing occur again. All right. I will explain why we need to keep track on all this kind of history. Now, one of the reasons why we need to keep the history so that we have the liability and know what is going on site. But the site people is very simple. They don't care about all this kind of documentation. All they care is about the timeline and also their job is done, right? But the office people is care about the data and also the information. Now, I want to ask one thing here is, if you can use your mobile device to send a picture and response through WhatsApp, why you cannot respond into the digital format? So those are the things. It's just a mindset of how the site people, the mindset is, right? Now, same thing with the quality control. If you need to do a certain things, like for example, I want to do a checklist, I want to do inspections, QA, QC, commissioning, everything can be done digitally as well, regardless whatever platform it is, as long as in the digital it will help much in the process. You can see that nowadays in the what happened in the construction industry or the site is people start to use A4 paper, pen and pencil to do the marking, and they print out A3 size paper to do a marking, cloud it, take a picture with your mobile phone, go back to the site office, compile it, scan it, and send it through email. You can see how many processes that we need to go through manually. All right, not to imagine if you're saying that in between, right? If anything that is urgent, for you to send the email out, it's already take you about half an hour or an hour. But if you can do it digitally right on the spot through your mobile device, you can send it out within that second, right? I fill up the form immediately, I take a picture and send it out, immediately people will know what is going on. So if you're talking about safety issue, all this kind of thing, you will have a faster reactions to that, right? Same to go with the safety management, as I mentioned earlier on. Daily reporting to log in whatever the daily labor, how many people on site, which company is sending how many workers, how many hours they are working on site. Those kind of things can be tracked digitally as well, right? Now, Autodesk, we have a platform what we call as a BIM 360, and in general, this is what we cover from the design stage, crash detection, tracking asset, project management, costing, handover, those kind of things. But one thing that I want you to focus is at the bottom here. The core is the document management, where it will keep track all your documents, your communication, RFI, RFA, RFM. But underneath that, there's two things. One is the project data and Autodesk Forge. Now, the reason why we have these two here is because the system will start to pick up whatever the data that you key in the system to do the prediction and analytics. Now, this is the risk that it happens every day. It's not the entire project, but every day you will have issues, hundreds of subcontractors on site that is working on site, thousands of issues that is open every day, or maybe even hundreds. Efficiency is one thing, and there's a change on site every day. Almost every day there's a changes on site, whether it's by client or whether it's because of the drawing efficiencies and so on. Now, all these kind of things, if you can see, 95% of the all data captured goes unused in the engineering and construction industry. Now, this is what I meant earlier on, is where a lot of people on site, especially on site, right, they don't understand why we need to keep track all this kind of history. All right, to them is yes, the speed. Using, for example, using the WhatsApp group message, I can send and people can reply immediately, it's fast, but then there's no history tracking on it. Now, one of the reasons here is once everything is in place and everything we keep track, we can use this kind of data for a lot of purposes. One, basically what will happen here is we can start to pick up all this kind of data, RFI issue everything, and the AI behind the BIM 360 will run the analysis and also for the prediction and also the analytics. Now, we call that as a construction IQ. All right. Now, what the construction IQ can do here is, for example, over the first 6 months of the construction, we realize that there's a lot of issue happens to subcontractor A. All right, and there's a lot of issue with the construction drawing. So the system will pick it up and they will start to analyze the trend of what is going on site. And every day, the system will alert you what is the high risk on that particular day. Whether the risk is because of the weather, the risk is because of the workers, or if there's a risk because of the drawings and so on. Now, the more data that you put in the BIM 360, all right, the more accurate the system will do the analytic and prediction for you. All right, there's an algorithm at the back end there that keep running every time you key in the data and so on. Now, those are the things that people start to look into to do the preventions, and also the predictions before some things happen. Now, at the same time as well, project performance is visible for everyone. So everyone will know what is going on site, who is performing, who is not performing, who is delaying the project. If I raise any issue or safety issue on site, who is responding to that, who is the responsible person. So everything is visible. So if we can eliminate those kind of issue where people saying that it doesn't belong to me, it's not my issue, it's somebody else and so on, and the architect haven't replied, the RTO haven't replied or anything. So those are the things that we want, the visibility and transparency on the sites for each of the construction industry. Now, and also there's of course there's a continuous improvement to that. Now, with the ability of the company-wide performance data, right, across multiple projects, so we will see the more and more trend at the back end there, and see what kind of issue or the project risk that is happen in your company and so on. All right. The more data that you have in there, the more accurate the data or the prediction that it can give it to you. All right. So and I finished my presentation for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey, for the wonderful presentation. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions for the speakers. Okay, if there's no question, TGIF, everybody. Thank you for coming. Let's give a round of applause to all the speakers again. Thank you.
How are you? Yeah, Jacob. No, Jacob. Yes. He wants to come back. He asked me to check if, for some possibilities to do something together. Really short notice for VC to close it. It's possible. Why not? But what's the detail? How do you want to run it? Well, what we do is quite similar. I don't have entity, right? Basically, we Chris, don't worry, I'll get you. Yeah, you invited me. Yes. So he asked me to showcase some Bentley solutions. Well, PA is not really Bentley. It's just we set up this academy that's supposed to be agnostic.
We are actually thinking of having industry and IHL or institute collaboration.
So we have very strong, so this should not be about promoting Bentley. So clearly not, because we want to be like neutral.
That's exactly what we say.
So
we have multiple areas actually.
So this is separate.
If you are okay to open up your space, we can actually collaborate.
I mean, I don't know how it's actually how it is and so on.
We can have your link card or
I'm a bit. I'm taking over more the one module and more focused on the digital infrastructure. So I was involved with the lady. Cecilia.
Cecilia, that's
Yeah,
correct.
So we're preparing this course because my field is the infrastructure. So,
Okay, great.
okay. So we email catch up.
Sure.
Sure.
Sure. Nice,
All right.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Pass your mic.
Okay, yeah, as usual.
Today these days, now really, only like supervisor, judge. I was a few days ago, I was one of the judge for one of the category. Yeah.